The moment that many of you have been anticipating is now here. XRP Army. All right, I have a ton of amazing things to discuss today. Right now, I'm ecstatic. All right, to begin with, we closed a huge trade within my community yesterday. We have been working on the Crypto Crusaders project for the past 5 days or so. We had been preparing it. We made a lot of money when we closed. Many members of the community who had imitated my trades also achieved great success. I must admit, that feels fantastic. Make sure to sign up using my website below if you want access to Crypto Crusaders. People in that community are earning thousands and thousands of dollars every week, and joining is free. It obviously depends on your initial capital, trading capital, and other factors, but it's there and it's free. Therefore, there is nothing to lose by participating. I simply wanted to share that. I don't offer any financial advice, but let's talk about the news. All right, because some truly amazing things are happening at the moment. First and foremost, many Federal Reserve members are advocating for interest rate reductions. We heard calls for rate cuts from a few different Federal Reserve members last week. We have a few more members this week. Michelle Bowman, in particular, demands a July interest rate drop since tariffs may not have the impact that was anticipated. Tariffs, after all, have been in effect for several months. The Federal Reserve typically takes 3 months to make decisions. That basically means that before decreasing rates, they want to examine all of the data from the previous 3 months to determine whether or not they believe it to be a smart decision. Some folks don't like this at all. It's much too slow, in their opinion. During that time, Europe cut rates 10 times while the US cut none at all. And some individuals were offended by that. However, there are many who argue that it's wise to double-check your next step. However, I believe we can all agree that tariffs did not result in nearly as much inflation as we had anticipated, if any at all. In any case, many businesses are simply bearing these expenses because they fear that if they increase them, customers would no longer purchase their goods. It's actually turning out to be a lot better than expected, you know. Additionally, the US government is generating a significant amount of new revenue that it otherwise would not be able to. Thus, I will add that this tariff case study is quite fascinating. Nevertheless, it's going to be fantastic that more and more Federal Reserve officials are discussing rate cuts. Because so many people have substantial US dollar savings, this might result in trillions of dollars being produced and re-injected into the US and international economies, folks. We adore witnessing that. Jim Crater was one negative indicator that was widely discussed and making the rounds on X and other social media sites. According to Jim Cramer's most recent forecasts, the future appears to be bright. All right, so some folks are worried that we could have a significant hazard in the near future. I'll say it's totally feasible and explain why, in the short term, things are really quite unpredictable right now. To put it simply, it's far from definite and may go any way. However, Jim Cramer's reverse index may be onto something in this case. He claims to be bullish, but in reality, he is bearish. Oh, wow, well, we'll talk about that in a moment. However, before delving into geopolitics, let's look at some current events that will have a significant short-term impact on the markets. Jerome Powell is the subject of my discussion since he has stated that although inflation has greatly decreased, it is still rather high. Now, Jerome's phrasing indicates what he is most likely preparing for at the July meeting. Everyone is now anticipating this July meeting since many people are beginning to believe that rate cuts might be on the horizon. Others are saying, no, it's likely going to be August. Hopefully, it's July. I'm not holding my breath, you know. According to Jerome Powell's words, perhaps we should wait another month. That's how it appears to me. I'll let you all please share your thoughts on his words in the comments section below. Whether you agree or disagree with what he's saying doesn't matter to me. In the end, he is ultimately responsible for making the choice. Therefore, I do believe that August could be the month. According to what I'm reading, this cut is excellent. But in these markets, nothing is definite. Many members of the Federal Reserve are putting a lot of pressure on Jerome to cut rates. Thus, I shall state that everything is feasible in this situation. Let's return now to the world stage, the theater, and theatrics. All right, it's crazy. I'm desperate for these disputes to stop. Well, I'm hoping that ends quickly. This morning, I came across this video of Trump being questioned. It was approximately 6 in the morning. For those of you who are unaware, AI is not this. This interview with Trump is real. I'll just play this video. You guys informed me that it's somewhat crazy. You see, we essentially have two nations who have been engaged in such a protracted and intense conflict that they have no idea what the hell they are doing. After that, he leaves. In fact, this occurred this morning. Dude, I was dead when I watched this. Like, I genuinely just burst out laughing. It's really wild stuff, don't you think? We live in this world now, don't we? However, it is evident that the show continues. In essence, a ceasefire was agreed upon, but neither side was prevented from taking certain actions. For this reason, Trump said, "Saasi, do not drop those," on his social media site Truth Social. It is a serious infraction if you do that. Take your pilots home. Correct? Yes, there was still fighting going on between the two sides. I will simply leave it at that. Both Israel and Iran are guilty of this after the truce was agreed upon. Trump himself has stated as much. Therefore, it raises some doubts about how this will go forward, to put it mildly. People thought you were really optimistic. Okay, ceasefire, great peace deal, great markets, they say. Immediately jumped back up. This explains why XRP, Bitcoin, and many other cryptocurrencies did so well following their massive collapse. But now, obviously, things are not as clear-cut as they once were, so if this dispute does really flare up again, we might observe conditions that are comparable to what we have seen in the past. Let me explain. This is Red Day, as you can see. Purchased Red Day. I made the purchase of Red Day. Up here, I purchased a large Green Day. We sold and did a great job. We made a ton of money, which is fantastic. You know, I think there are some attractive levels here that are really good entries. And honestly, there is some potential to actually, make some money with these markets and these short-term volatile fluctuations. That being said, I do not currently have any open positions, but I will be preparing to open up some more if we do see this pitfall. That's what I'm waiting for myself, and my community is waiting for that. That's precisely what we're going to wait for to occur here. Correct? Having said that, I'm simply going to wait to see whether that pitfalls arise. It's fantastic if it doesn't. I currently own a lot more XRP holdings that aren't being traded in futures. By the way, gentlemen, take a look at this if you want to see amazing wins by getting access to my transactions. This is completely crazy. Congratulations if you are a member of the Crypto Crusaders community. Take a look at all of the winnings that were reported after we closed these deals yesterday and today alone. Take a look at all these victories. These are only members of the community who are closing themselves out by duplicating my XRP trades. Man, just take a look at this. Take a look at the number of winners. Dollar makers, baller. We entered the neighborhood. This is all on June 23rd, after all. As you can see, I closed that transaction all day long. It's very amazing what we're accomplishing, guys. There are so many victories, really. People are mimicking my trades and making different amounts of money because they use different degrees of leverage and other amazing things, but they are still killing it. Correct. Therefore, it's a really simple approach if you want to be like these guys and have free access to my trades. All right. Getting everyone in this community would be amazing. Each and every viewer of these videos. All you need to do is use my link to register on either BitNX or BTCC, my two associated exchanges. They offer fantastic bonuses that are only available through my links deposit. After that, you swap user IDs and submit your email. After you complete those 3 procedures, obtaining email access is that simple. Then, like the rest of the